All right. Welcome, everybody, to this session on how to deal with tilt. And this session is going to be more of a free discussion. We're going to talk about what you guys been facing with in your rank games and just going over what are the strategies in dealing with all the situations. I have a few notes just based on my previous sessions, based on all the coaching experience I got. It's been so far 7 years and also 10 years of playing the hero shooters genre in a really, really long period of time, being in competitive scene as well. I definitely have a lot of things as a player as well, what I've been able to implement, what been working for me, what's not working, and why. There's gonna be a lot of notes just from the books, from the materials, from other coaches as well. I've been able to accumulate through my journey, so that is something we're gonna use today. It's gonna be simple and concise though. They're not gonna be too much in depth, going over all the steps, but yeah, I think gonna have enough time to just mention the most important steps dealing with still today. All right, let me make sure the chat is working. Okay, I think it's working just fine. I think you would like to know how to deal with people who tilt on your gameplay. Not necessarily that you will tilt, but feeling pressure from a person getting aggressive with you. That's a good question. I think we'll cover that. We'll cover that 100%. There are going to be multiple strategies. I just want you to ask, guys, what is causing you to tilt typically? Or what do you think is just affecting you in terms of frustration? Why do you feel frustrated in your matches sometimes? What it's based on? What happens usually? Can you guys tell me? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. You can also unmute if you want to just say something.
I feel like
Oh, yeah?
personally one of the things that make me tilt will be going against a comp that makes me feel like I can't do much or maybe anything at all. That leaves me confused on what to do.
Right, right. Okay, okay. So when you cannot do much versus the comp, what kind of thoughts are you usually getting when this happens? I'm just curious, if you face in the comps, what is the first thought you're getting right away?
Maybe like a full dive comp because it's like hard to communicate with random people. Just
Right.
to
Mhm.
yeah, just random, just difficult to communicate when there's like a full dive comp.
Right, right. Makes sense. Makes sense. And I think especially in a dive, probably there are gonna be multiple things you need to be able to keep in mind because you have to be really well synchronized together. You have to be on the same page, and there's so many things to keep a track on. And I'll talk about that exactly. That might be one of the things why we might be tilted because there are just too many things for us to keep in mind. And when we trying to have our performance at a high level while keeping the track on all the things, it becomes difficult. It just becomes so overwhelming for us, right? Let me see. What else you guys been saying? Focusing on factors beyond your control. Okay, okay, that's a good one. Let's just maybe move to the bottom here because what can cause tilt, I think there can be quite a lot. Yeah, we can just write it down. Focusing on factors beyond my control. Maybe there's gonna be something. Mention a situation we are not able to deal with. Let's just call it situation with maybe there's a certain composition you're not sure how to act in. Maybe there's a situation where there's composition you're not sure how to play against. It's just might be something what can cause you to tilt, yeah? So I'm just not sure what to do in the situation. Okay, let's just put it this way. What to do? Well, let's just say not sure. Not sure what to do in X situation. Okay, I think that's understandable. You see, all of this is gonna be our free notes. We're gonna make those along the way, and it's definitely more of a free discussion because I think there might be a lot of things influencing the tilt. I mentioned a few well, most common before with the players I coached, it's been something like concerned about stats. Maybe they're also concerned about their rank, position on the ladder. Those are the biggest, typically. Tendency to blame teammates for the mistakes, that is something what can cause you tilt mindset as well. Let me see if there's anything else. Me playing bad, my teammates playing bad, or losing game, I could have easily won. Yeah. So the performance, maybe there's just something about the performance what is causing you to tilt. But how do you identify if you performed bad? I want to ask you that. I think that's a good question. Ironheart, how do you identify if you performed pretty poorly in the match? What is based on for you, usually? Maybe like any of you guys. Yeah, teammates not being the same page, being dominated. Yeah. I see. People refusing to switch. That's a good one. Okay. So might be this tendency. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say tendency to blame teammates for mistakes. Yeah, let's just call it tendency to pay attention to certain things your teammates doing. Okay, because it's not just about the blaming. It's kind of we putting attention on those external factors, and a lot of times it can cause us to tilt to pay attention to certain things your teammate or maybe your just team is doing. Let's put it this way. All right, let me see what Ironheart said. I usually look at my heal output and number of deaths I have. Exactly. Concerned about the stats. Okay, we can make that connection. But I want you to answer that question. Is your stat, is it something what is exactly telling you are you performing pretty well or pretty badly? Yeah, because there are gonna be a lot of situations when you might have maybe like for example not as good kill death ratio. Yeah, maybe you will die a lot but you still might win. There might be situations when you play versus one composition and then it's gonna be really easy for you to farm kills, and there's gonna be another composition where it's gonna be really difficult to do so. Yeah, to give you an example, you playing Loki versus Dive. Well, in this case, you need to be actively thinking about the sustain, how to prevent the divers, and I think you will not get a lot of kills done, to be honest. It's just a lot about the sustain, and there might be situations where you play versus more stationary comms, and it becomes easier for you to get kills, right? So the good thing is to try to think about what is exactly. I think it's good to look at your gameplay first off, and then because you see certain things you're doing within your gameplay, then look at the stats in addition. But that is something we can talk about later. But this is typical. Yeah, why I'm asking you the questions, because this is going to be something you will pay attention to. You're being concerned about the stats. I'll also get annoyed with a fellow healer that double stacks their defensive ult with me, but that usually can be fixed with the communication of who will ult first on versus what ult. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, yeah? Like I mentioned, focusing the factors beyond my control. We can all add those examples to the list. Yeah, you guys already telling me a lot of examples. That's great. Let me read. Is there's anything else I missed? Yeah, a lot of messages. Not being able to create value. That's what causing you to tilt. Yeah, again, what is based on? Is it based on your stat? Is it based on just your performance? You notice that something within your gameplay that you not find valuable, but how do you identify if it's valuable to you? This is a good question. Are you self-reviewing? Are you actually doing something like just reflect on your gameplay later? Yeah, that's a good question. Okay. Let me see. Is there anything else what's interesting? Teammates not being on the same page and being dominated. Yeah. I get it. Okay, so let's just get to the next point. Well, first off, we identify what is the tilt. And tilt for most of the players, that's how I would like to phrase it, how a lot of players maybe in other sports and games phrase it as well. Tilt is a state of mind or just state of mental or emotional confusion, frustration, in which players adopt a less than optimal strategy, and it usually resulting in the player becoming overly aggressive. Okay, that is one of the definitions. There might be more definitions of what the tilt is, but I think this for us is going to be really important. There's going to be emotional confusion or frustration in which players adopt a less than optimal strategy. Okay, so there are a lot of things which can cause tilt. We already mentioned that, and there are a lot of strategies to fix that. Okay, let me see. How do you guys deal with tilt? Actually, I'm curious. So all of this happens. So I think Aaron Hart already mentioned they've been dealing with something like maybe trying to communicate with their teammates. Yeah, maybe they try to also pay attention. Maybe you can try to pay attention to what's gonna be on the field right now. Just visually see who is doing what. Yeah, how they position aggressively. They're playing more passively. This sort of way. But yeah, how do you deal with the
So
tilt?
there is a way actually. Like that's actually one of the things I want to go with Isaac tomorrow over. There's an exact way about just you have to reflect on the fact that when you're losing, you don't lose your skill. You just lose but because your rank is separate from your overall skill as a player, and you have to understand that. Like you have to look at the journey more than the actual like amount of like I lost a single game, but overall you're gonna have like thousands of games, like thousands and thousands. So because of that, when you're actually losing this single game, it's not that bad. If you're like the best way to do is if you're VOD reviewing after the loss. Like there is a few things I used to do because I played like 9 years of FPS games, and like I've been like IGL for 8 years, so I just like looked at a lot of stuff. Usually, wait, what I fucking thought about?
Yeah. Listen.
Usually, yeah. I just forgot the point I stopped. If you could remind me really quickly.
It's all good. Take your time. Yeah. So you've been trying to practice with the player, focusing on the journey rather than focusing on the outcome. That's what I'm getting. Yep.
Yeah. So basically, why is it good? Is because first of all, players get less anxious, and they actually try to not do a lot of plays that can just fuck you over. Like they can just get scared a lot. The players can just play very passively or just do a lot of plays that are not the best because they are trying to save their KD, just trying to do something like that. Or just like, or gonna get very frustrated over like one loss, which is very, very bad. Like getting frustrated over a loss. Usually, what I do, because what I do after that, if I actually try to grind, is I ask the person if I'm playing with somebody. I'm asking the person, can we just do the 1v1 just to reset the mental? Because like going straight up to the ranked after the lost game is usually just more likely gonna be lose after that. Like if you don't change anything, you're more likely gonna lose. That's what I try to do. Like there is also meditation, like and other stuff. There is the good way to like actually kind of unbomb yourself. I found is just like the breathing exercises, like 4 seconds 4 times, like 4 seconds breathe in, 4 seconds breathe out, and just repeat it 4 times.
Nice. This is really good way. This is really all of that's really insightful, and we can really make the connections to what I know. I can kind of just give my comments on that as well. I think that's really good, especially the first note I made is when we focusing on the journey, not outcome, and just also finding ways to reset a mental. I think all of that is great. Yeah, thank you for sharing this. This is really, really good.
It's also more fun. It's also more fun because like the thing is if you're more focused on the journey, it's like when the thing is when you're actually just focused on like grinding and you're just gonna D-rank, you're just gonna get very, very frustrated. But when you're focused on like the journey, like you're gonna not only have more fun, but you're less likely to burn out, less likely to stop playing. You're gonna have more fun when you're playing thousands and thousands of hours. Like I've been trying for like fucking 9 years, and I've just started doing it because I did the like VODs from Yathlete Labs. I did the VODs on Ghost Pro. I did the VODs on like fucking all the kinds of stuff, and I did myself also a lot of things like scrims, and also just experience. So, like, if you're playing a shit ton, like just try to make it fucking fun and not burn out. Try to find a person to play with, because this is also making it much better. If you have somebody that will go, get on, play with me, like you're 10 times less likely to burn out, rather than if you just, okay, I'm gonna play, but you're gonna be playing solo queue, right? Right? If you're playing solo queue in ranked, you're just gonna have a bad time at one point, and you're just gonna be okay. You're not having really motivation to keep going. Like, the motivation is also very important. So you have to have something to play for.
That is really good. That is really good, I think. Especially when we trying to practice, finding ways to make it fun. I think for everybody it's different. And I think you already mentioned that for you, maybe the part where it is resetting the mental when you're trying to do 1v1, maybe it's also that 1v1 can also be the routine which you do before the match. It's like when there are football players, they are just trying to do something in the field. Yeah, they have certain routine before the match, so they set their mind to something, set it to do something, and because you have the goal in the mind, you kind of now you're able to correctly think under that pressure because you made certain ritual that helps you a lot. Yeah, so let's just say kind of all rituals are gonna be really important. That's how I would put it. Yeah, rituals, maybe it's also just something of what makes it fun, just whatever makes it fun. It's gonna be important because a lot of times people, and I think in my sessions also face this, where they tell me that they playing 24/7, and then it just becomes not as fun for them anymore because they're not playing with friends. They're trying to grind the rank. But is there anything else we can do to just make the game fun? Maybe even though you play competitive, or you can also have the balance.
Scrims.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, scrims. Yeah, we can also do that, and
Team.
ultimately, yeah. Sorry.
Scrims, team, trying to just play at the very least duo queue. Try to like play with the players that are committed. Maybe they can show you something. These type of things are very good.
Exactly.
And also about when you say the rituals, like trying to play for fun, there is a thing I would add to that. Is because playing for fun, yes, but if you're trying to make it in this way, try to make the game you're actually playing fun. Like, not just I would specify. It's not like, okay, I'm gonna go play Skyrim. Like you want to make it fun for you to play this specific game, and there is a lot of ways to make it work. But overall, what I've watched and what I've seen is basically just maybe look at montages, maybe just find something that you really like to improve. Like, let's say the movement. For me, like, let's say the flow state. You know what the flow state is?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically momentum.
You can explain to the audience how do you understand it.
Okay. So the flow state is basically momentum. Like, after you perform
this graph over there
certain
as well. Yeah. Continue. Yeah. Okay.
So basically, flow state is momentum. When you perform an action and you keep going, like you are more focused, you're trying to, you're more locked in. With each momentum drive, you're getting more and more focused. And there are the ways to make it work. One of the ways is like feeling out what is the thing that keeps you going. Let's say good movement, like nice ultimate, like aim, like hitting the sick shot. Like, basically, it could be even just like creating the plan, making it work, or outsmarting your opponents. So you just have to select two of those, and just like making this thing work is gonna give you no momentum, and that can make you play a little bit better on your consistency if you want to try to make it going like that.
Exactly. Yeah, this is really good. And I also have the graph for the flow state. Exactly, that is something what we're gonna talk about later too. Is just there is a challenge level and there is a kind of skill level we usually will have within the graph, where the flow state is kind of something in between. You have the challenge level can be pretty high, but the skill level at the same time when you're performing is pretty high too, and you can enter this flow state. That is something we can talk about. There are also other things which are happening, and what I'm focusing on now is exactly this. Yeah, when we get this anxiety point, yeah, there's a lot of stress, and then tilt happens. It's when the challenge is really high but the skill level becomes low. Yeah, and there are multiple reasons why. There are also the other states. It's just, are we more in control? Are we maybe just more passive in the gameplay when the challenge level is pretty low for us, when the skill level is low as well? Yeah, that is something we're gonna talk about too. Yeah, this is really good. So made a lot of notes, and I think we can make some connections to the material. Let me also read the others, what they mentioned so far. If, let's see, Buddy, they mentioned, if I ever get tilted, I just get off the game for a while, and if I'm still tilted, I just don't play for the rest of the day. Well, taking breaks, potentially, why not? We can also do that. Yeah, let's just maybe keep it in here. All the notes, I'm gonna be keeping those in here. Taking breaks might be helpful. There is also strategy. By the way, all the notes we're gonna be taking and a lot of the materials, it's gonna be connected to our previous masterclasses. If any of you guys are new here to those sessions, there are masterclasses on consistency. There's masterclass on outer palette. There was a recent one, and just on other mental related stuff, so you can just rewatch that, and there are a lot of notes related to how to take breaks. But yeah, usually you just want to have those within your game this way, so your focus is pretty high. Yeah, so you're not just getting too much of a bad stress. You can maybe try to take breaks between the games every hour or so, just so you need to stay focused. Okay, there might be also other ways to increase your focus, but we can talk about it later if we need to.
Mhm.
Okay, let
Can
me
I
see.
say one thing?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Also, there is a thing that you shouldn't start the ranked unless you want to like play, unless you're ready to spend like 100% and you actually would love to play, unless you're not like, oh my god, I want to play or something like that. You should not play. You should maybe also like taking the breaks. You should, like, it matters when which way you want. If you want it hard, like if you want to like go full, then this could be like watching some montage video just to keep the motivation going, or like of this specific game. Maybe going for like doing the hand exercises. Maybe just doing the 1v1s just for fun, or like doing deathmatch. This could be fun. There other things could be done as well, but it's gonna be much different. It's not gonna be that much of a actual like improvement. It could help. Like, it's still better than rolling into ranked without doing nothing. Like, you have to do the stop point, reset, and then play. It could be good. You can have fun. It's just the way you have to make it. That's one thing I wanted just to specify.
Exactly. I think there are a lot of layers, a lot of connections. For now, I'm just gonna mention this, kind of helping ourselves to get in a ranked mindset. Maybe we can have those certain rituals, certain things we can do before. I think those are really helpful. I think even there are two ways, kind of. It's one of this is physical. What are you exactly doing at the moment? And another way is mental. Yeah, mental, just preparing ourselves. Maybe there are certain things you just want to remind yourself about. It might be including your goals. It might be including just the way you maybe have a certain phrase which motivates you. It's not just you're gonna have those affirmations or something. You're gonna have that something you're gonna put in your head right now, just certain thought which is gonna keep you focused, but you're also gonna perform certain actions. And that is something what I want to talk about. Let's just kind of keep the structure going. I think we'll start with how do we actually get all of that response, how this happens that we get in the tilt mindset, I just want to share one of the tools you guys can use potentially. It's called the SWOT model. That is something I use in my sessions usually. And maybe you already watched some of my videos before. I use it quite a lot with my students. It's just one of the coaching tools, but you can apply it anywhere, to be honest. So what this SWOT model is all about. Okay, I'm just going to have the board to elaborate on all of that. Because with the SWOT model, they are most important thing for you to understand is that your thoughts can influence the results. Okay, whatever we getting in the moment is just the facts we're facing. That is something we cannot change. Yeah, let's just maybe have the board here and then we put it all together right now. Okay, so there's gonna be fact. It's gonna just you're gonna enter certain thoughts after you're facing those certain facts, and then you're gonna get certain feeling, and then you're gonna do the action, and then you are performing the result. Yeah, I mean, there's gonna be the result. Okay, so I'm just gonna have all of that on the board, and the fact is something we cannot change. But what we can change though is our thoughts and feelings in the learn term, maybe. Yeah, well, at least you can change the thoughts, the feelings. That is something what we get just as a response to that thought and the feelings. It's just kind of marker. Yeah, you know, you're facing something. It's not because I think that a lot of times there's misunderstanding in some of the content creators. They also have this mindset. I'm not gonna name anybody, but sometimes there are players, they tell you, like content creators, that tell you that some of the feelings are not useful, so you can just not feel something. But a lot of times what happens with a tilt mindset is when we facing certain facts, like you guys already mentioned, my teammate is doing really bad. Okay, my teammate, well, how do I identify it as well? My teammate is doing bad based on the stats. Again, the question is is he really doing bad just because those stats are bad, or are you able to identify something else within his performance, what he's doing not great? Maybe he's just constantly jumping off the map. Well, but this happens. This is the fact. That is something we cannot change a lot of times. Maybe you can influence a little bit with your communication, but I think it's pretty tough. The facts is something we cannot change. Now, when we entering this fact, it's gonna trigger the certain thoughts you're gonna have about that player. You might think, okay, this guy is so bad, or maybe this is gonna be something else. It just depends on the player, depends on the person. Okay, and if you have those thoughts, it can influence it. Well, it can trigger your certain feeling, and this is where frustration might come in. And there's a high chance for us to just feel angry. Yeah, let's just say, well, I think being angry is one of the biggest things which can influence the tilt. Because if you're angry at something, if you have those non-constructive thoughts, yeah, it's just you not able to focus on your gameplay properly, on your performance properly. So let's say we're angry. This guy's so bad, we're angry. What kind of actions we're doing? Well, some of the people, maybe they just would log off the game. Maybe some of them, they just leave the game. Yeah, let's just put extreme examples. Leave the game, or they maybe smash their monitor. I don't know. There might be things happening. It just depends on the level of the feeling, yeah, because you can get angry just pretty low level, the high level, that is something what we not getting at. But yeah, anyway, all of that can potentially lead to certain actions, and after we get that action, there's a result we're getting. Yeah, maybe you lose your game, maybe you're gonna be just not in a good state of mind or something. Yeah, just whatever the goal is, whatever the result is, usually it's a lot of times kind of connected to you lose the match, yeah, lose the fight, you lose the game. So let's just put it this way here. All right. And what is important about this model, when we know all of that, it helps you to understand how to deal with that problem. So if we have this as a first step, if we just go over this model step by step, fact, thought, feeling, action, and then the result. is happening. Okay, I think there are a lot of people been writing down. Let me see. You guys been writing down just what you've been doing about the tilt. Let me just read some of this. If I'm having a bad day in my rivals, I complain to my 13 years old daughter who places me. That's pretty funny. Okay, venting Lil helps me so much. Well, I think maybe can be one of the ways, yeah, but that is something we can recognize, yeah, that is something we can maybe put in actions, yeah. If you have that certain fact, maybe your teammate been performing pretty bad, you identified that, and then you've been getting the thought about that, and then there's a feeling, and then the action, yeah, the action, you maybe complain about that to your daughter, and that's right. Again, as long as it helps you in the long term, that is something what I'm gonna talk about later. Okay, let me see, is there's anything else? There's so many messages. Okay, I'm trying to get across all of those. I would like top add something after you will go over results section. Yeah, of course. Let me just finish this model real quick. So the first step when we're using this model is identify what you're facing with. Okay, once we went through this model, it's gonna be the second step. We have to do everything backwards. That is gonna be one of the ways for you to deal with this tilt, because the tilt is not something you can fix right away. It's not like you click and then it's fixed. It's all about the process. It's all about the putting the right habits in the process. Yeah, maybe making something, you doing something to make sure that your thoughts are shifting, your actions are shifting towards something better. Okay, and that is what your next step is all about, to start making this process of shifting your mindset towards more helpful response. Okay, let's just say maybe this, if you identify there's not helpful pattern, yeah, non-constructive or like destructive pattern, let's put it this way, yeah, maybe all of this is something what's not allowing us to build at the moment. Okay, it's destructive. Okay, let me just do it this way. Okay, we put an arrow in here. Not ideal. Now the second step, it's identify what you can do to make it constructive. And what you can start with is just doing this model backwards. That is what I usually suggest to my students. You want to identify what your end result, what kind of result you want to achieve, what kind of things you will be doing once achieving that result, and then what kind of feeling can support all of that, what kind of thoughts can support all of that. Okay, to give us an example, let's just go over that pretty quick. For example, your result can be something like win the match. Again, I will put with a question mark, is it the most ideal result for us? Well, a lot of times I don't think so, because then we put the focus on something what is not consistent. Yeah, we usually want some sort of positive goals. Okay, let's just put it this way, the goals where we get some outcome. Okay, positive goals, it's just simple. Yeah, keeping it simple, positive goals. Example of positive goal can be, instead of winning the match, because one day you lose a lot of matches and then you get frustrated, another day you lose a lot of matches, one day you win a lot of matches and then you get motivated, another day you lose a lot of matches and then you get frustrated. So you want to have something consistent, what's going to help you out. And maybe it can be just having fun with your friends. Yeah, some of you also mentioned that I want to have fun. I think that's consistent. You don't have to always actively practice and like grind. Yeah, if we just go back to this, I think there should be a balance between active practice and having fun. You want to recognize it for yourself. You guys as a player, what are you leaning towards? Active practice, comps, scrims, or you guys are having fun? Obviously, there are also ways to have fun when actively practice. We're not saying that active practice shouldn't be fun. Yeah, it should be fun most of the time. It should be fun for you, but make sure you differentiate between the active practice and, I'm just gonna say, not as active. Yeah, not as active practice. Maybe that is something what can recharge your mindset a little bit. To give you an example, maybe there's one student I got the sessions with, they hitting Celestial, going higher, they have a lot of active practice hours, but they also have those other hours of practice, and it's just because they play so much, they constantly in this active practice mindset. It just makes it so it's just so frustrating for them in the long term to play the matches. So what we suggested is, what if we try to have the active practice hours, but then add a little bit of having fun, a little bit more. They mentioned they still want to play. They still want to play other hours. Yeah, they play like 4, maybe 5 hours of active practice of competitive and scrims. But the other hours, well, what would be non-active practice for them is maybe playing with friends. So maybe they can play on their other account practicing other characters if they want to practice them. I don't know. It just has to be something. Yeah, you have to find your own solution, definitely, to just make sure you are not getting in this mindset of, well, I'm playing 24/7 and just only practicing. I think it's not helpful. Okay, so let's get back to this point. When we have those positive goals in mind, then your result has to be something what gives you constant outcome. Okay, maybe it's having fun. Maybe you practice certain goal. Let's say you practice X goal, and then you will be most likely less frustrated. So what are you going to be doing with the actions? Yeah, you guys can always identify. Maybe instead of just leaving the game, maybe instead of blaming your teammates, maybe instead of doing something else what's not helpful and destructive. Yeah, I mentioned we want to identify destructive things you guys are doing. We just add something constructive. Yeah, add constructive actions. Okay, I'm just gonna put it this way. For everybody, it's gonna be different. Well, in the case of that player who has been living the game, you just stay in the game. Let's say it here. Stay in the game, or like play the game. Okay, play the game, and you can also add some other layers to how you want to play, what do you need to keep an eye on. But I think at least this is a good start. And what kind of feeling can support all of that? Well, maybe instead of exactly being angry, we want to have something else what supports that action. Yeah, maybe it's just feeling more relaxed, maybe it's more calm. I don't know. You have to identify it for yourself. Just name it with one word usually, and make sure you are keeping that in mind. Yeah, it's again not something you're going to be able to do right away. It's not like you're clicking and then it's just something you will be able to perform. No, it takes time. But then the most important thing is identify the thoughts. What kind of thoughts could be helpful so you will be in this calm mindset? Okay, and this might be just you, I don't know, for example, me as a player, what I've been doing, sometimes I've been just thinking, okay, I will try to be like that top 1 player or something, and then I enter, because of this thought, I've entered the flow state. That is something we'll talk about later as well, and just those thoughts can be really helpful. Yeah, because you have something in mind, something you practice, something you focus on, something what maybe can inspire you, like more constructive. Maybe you get into this more calm mindset. Okay, for in the case of that guy, yeah, this guy is so bad. Yeah, they've been mentioning, well, this is the teammate is not good. Maybe they can be thinking, okay, I want to be the best at something. Yeah, like be the best at X, whatever. It can be your goal. And once you went through all of that, you guys just have to put it into practice. Yeah, make sure it's a daily practice, daily routine. Remind yourself what your thoughts are gonna be, and then you create a habit. Within the months, within the year, you can replace more destructive thoughts in your mind with more constructive. Yeah, it's just by using this model, something you can apply. That's what I usually been doing. I can also elaborate on that model, but yeah, just might not have enough time to do all of that. Wait. Stream failed for me. Okay, let me just I'm sorry.
Right now you just ended. That
Yeah.
was working well for me.
Okay. Oh well, I will rescreen share anyway, guys. Just for anyone who is, yeah. Anyway, yeah, I rescreen shared. Let me know if it's working. Stream failed for me.
It's
Okay.
working.
It's working. Nice. All right. Works now. Perfect. Yeah, just in case, rescreen share. That's all good. Yeah, so far this is it about the SWOT model. I hope that is something you guys can apply later. It's just we'll make the connections to this model with the other stuff later. But yeah, something you wanted to say, Dracanian. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing the name
so
correctly.
It's okay. Most people don't. Yeah, I've heard all type of.
So how do I pronounce
faults.
your name? How do we pronounce it?
Call me Drag. Call me
Drag.
Drakanen or
Perfect.
Drakanen Drag.
Yeah, drag.
One of
Okay.
those. So one of the things is that you didn't say is
Mhm.
whenever you're trying to act, like whenever you're actually getting angry, it's much easier for you to get angry next time. So basically, you have to constantly try, like even if your healer is shit, just don't say it, because it's gonna be easier for you to just say whatever. If you're gonna say whatever once, you're like making your brain not get angry that much. Like it's you just like how to say it in English. 1 second.
That's okay.
Um,
Take your time.
1 second.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna Google Translate it pretty quick.
That's all right. That's all right. Well, good here for the good conversation, so everybody can solve their problems still in.
Oh yeah, conditioning. So basically, you're conditioning your brain to work in a specific way. The
Mhm.
brain can be actually changed much easier than people think.
Yes.
Like if you're gonna say, okay, I am this guy is fucking retarded. Your brain is gonna say it more and more. That like the
Yes.
more you say it. And I actually I used to not do it, but I've realized like I played this game for 5 days. Like I've hit like diamond right now. Then I played with Isaac. So and the thing is, I just kind of rolled the lobbies until like P1, and like after that, because I just started doing bad, I started like to blame shit, even though I shouldn't. And this is the thing, like you cannot do that if you're actually trying to reach the higher, because like you're gonna start thinking negatively, and when you're thinking negatively, it's easier for you to get angry so much easier. So basically, the more chill you're forcing yourself to be, the more chill you will be, like much 10 times easier. And also you can help yourself with supplements like L-theanine and fruits. They are very good for your mental and mental well-being. And yeah, that's basically what people have to work for. Like
Exactly.
okay, I think that's good.
Yeah, no, this is good. This is really good. I think to make some connections to what you mentioned, just all of this model here, this is exactly might be one of the tools helping you guys to form the pattern, because the way your mind is acting, it's the habit, and you can reform the habit like any other habits you guys doing within your gameplay. Maybe you take the bad positions, maybe it's your bad decisions, but you can reform it. You can try to create the other habit, the more helpful habits. So to put it this way, instead of more destructive habits, we are forming more constructive habits. Okay, maybe not even thoughts. I'm just gonna put in the habit here. Okay, this is gonna be destructive and something constructive. Yeah, but the first step is identify. Yeah, just go through this model, identify what is that about, break it down for you, and then you can try to rephrase it on the piece of paper, somewhere make your own notes, and later try to apply something. It's not only about thinking, okay, like I'm gonna not be angry or something. I'll talk about that later, by the way, just like something you guys should know about the anger as well. But a lot of times it's just you will be trying to think about what you want to be. Okay? It's not gonna be about what not to be, but forming the habits, what do we want to be instead. Maybe you want to be calm, maybe you want to be about a player just in certain skills. That is the most important. If I tell you guys, do not think about the purple elephant, okay, you're gonna be thinking about the purple elephant right away. So a lot of this is gonna be exactly rephrasing the habits, rephrasing it to, so what are we gonna think about instead if it's not purple elephant? Okay, let's keep moving. The thought model, this is finished, and I will talk about the anger a little bit, because it's gonna be important. It's just the other things I wanted to mention. It's gonna be teacup model. Okay, some quick notes about the thoughts as well. I want to really emphasize, whatever you choose to believe, you'll find an evidence to prove it. Also, give me a second. I think there's a Lilac or Lilas. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly. Can you mute? Yeah, thank you. It's just some of the background noise. All right. So whatever you choose to believe, you'll find an evidence to prove it. So you might notice there are always going to be people, maybe especially the higher tier, maybe the top streamers, they will tell you, well, if you do this and that, then you're going to climb. But then there are also other people who, no matter what you maybe trying to tell them, they will still find an evidence to blame something, to blame their teammates, to blame the other more external factors. But in reality, just through all the coaching sessions, through all my life in general, this is the biggest thing I would say about your thoughts is just whatever you choose to believe, you'll find an evidence to prove it. And if you choose to believe that there's a system which keeping you hard stuck, or there's a system which is helping you climb, or like you believe that you can achieve certain skills and you exactly going to be acting based on that. Yeah, this is what I mentioned, the SWOT model here. If you thinking about something, but then you also put in the work, you put in the actions you're going to be doing, then it's going to be helpful. Well, obviously for everybody, the degree, how far you can go, how far you can climb, it all depends on not only you, it also external factors as well. But I think it's more helpful position to think about what is more helpful you can do, what you can focus on at the moment, so you will be able to get on top of the mountain. Because you have all those resources in front of you. So the only person who knows how to use those resources is you. And I'm thinking, if you're showering something with your attention, it's bad teammates, bad matchmaking, your skill on recognizing all of this will grow. Like Drag mentioned, if you're getting angry, there's going to be pattern. The more you do it, the easier for you it's going to be to get angry. And that is exactly the same thing. You're showering anger with attention. So now your attention, because you shower the anger with attention, it grows. Anger will grow, and it's gonna be more and more. So important question would be to ask, is there anything else you want to be paying attention to so it grows more? Yeah, maybe there is something else you want to grow. Instead of anger, we want to be more calm. Maybe instead of being angry, you can also be more positive in a way. Well, it's your own way, like how you interpret positivity. Yeah, it's not all about you have to be always positive. It's also good to be angry. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, anyway, you just choose what's more helpful. Let's just keep it this way. Okay, I'm gonna put choose helpful pattern. Now, teacup model. I think the previous SWOT model, you can make a lot of connections to the teacup model eventually too. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, you can make a lot of connections to the teacup, thinking about correctly under pressure. That's how you phrase it. Usually with this model, you want to think about how do you focus on the process instead of focusing on the outcome. That is one of the biggest challenges, because the more there is at stake, the more likely that thoughts about the outcome will interfere with the thoughts about the process. And fundamental principle when practicing in a skill can be then is to create a process based on 1 or 2 conscious thoughts. Okay, I will comment on that, but let's just comment on this first. It's to give you an example. Let's say I'm climbing the ladder. Let's say I'm climbing the top of the mountain, to give you an example. If I'm making my first steps, it's really easy to climb to the top. Yeah, I'm not thinking about it as much. It's like all relaxed, and then there are only like 2 steps, third step on the top, and it's not as high. Yeah, you're not afraid of height anymore. If you fall, you're only gonna fall like 1-2 meters or something. Well, maybe let's say like half a meter, like not at all, because you just climbed 2 or 3 steps. But if you climb more and more, if I'm already on top of Everest, on top of the mountain, then I'm gonna be afraid of height. I'm gonna be afraid if I climb more further up, something's gonna happen to me. I might fall, I might just maybe lose my equipment, maybe there is something else. It's just an analogy, but there is the same happens with you when you play the match, because you are in the moment in the game, maybe you pretty high ranked, and a lot of players, they're afraid to lose their rank. You're just thinking, okay, this is my demotional game, and if I play this poorly, then I lose my rank. So you don't play at all, or you play but you perform really, really badly. And this is exactly why it happens, because of you not focusing on the correct things. You're focusing on this outcome, and there are a lot of thoughts flooding your mind. Yeah, it's like imagine there's a small city and there's just a big amount of water like flooding everywhere, the streets and everything. This is your mind. This is your mind, and it's just gonna be really difficult for you to process everything. Okay, let me see. Does this model come with teacup? Well, it can be if tea is calm, tea is calm, relaxing. If it helps to think under pressure, then it can be. Pink elephant, yeah, you pink elephant as well. It's hard to not think about the pink elephant, right? It also happens the same in the teacup model. If you're focusing on the pink elephant and just, well, let's just say not thinking about that, then it becomes difficult. That's one of the parts about this model too. It just might be too many things to keep in mind. All right, so I want to comment to this. This is just a screenshot of one of the books I've been reading, and it's just thinking under pressure. This exactly called that. It's just how to think about this. I have this section in the middle. I will keep it simple because we talked about the SWOT model. I'm gonna name it actions. Okay, those are actions the player's performing, and those here are thoughts. Okay, this is something you think about. And as we mentioned in the model in here, your thoughts can influence your actions. It can influence your result in the long term. Okay, and you may notice on just one side they have productive, something what productive they can do, and another side those are negative thoughts. This is an example of one of the football player, just what they could be thinking in a moment when trying to strike the goal. Okay, and I can give you an analogy to the game. You can also be thinking about hitting your shots. Maybe I will try to have, for example, here in terms of actions, I'll try to have sharp aim. Yeah, I'll try to have my crosshair placement on the head level. Maybe I'll place the crosshair on the corners. I will try to also take angles, off angles. Maybe you try to position near, I don't know, just depending on what you practice, near certain teammate or maybe away from certain teammate. I don't know. There has to be something. All of this, it can be the actions. You kind of make an analogy, comparison. The players in the football, they could be thinking, I'm going to crush that ball. I will try to have this certain posture. Maybe there's going to be something like 45 degrees approach. This is how you just approach the leg, the foot. Yeah, it's just how you're going to hit the ball. And that is the similar in your games too. You can be thinking, well, maybe I'm taking 90 angles. A lot of times I talk about that in my sessions. Maybe you take more flanky angles, 180 angles. You just flank all around the way. Depends on the character, but all of those are actions. And now they can be productive thoughts and negative. Well, productive, it's something what is focused more on your internal, like what you can, let's just name it constructive thoughts. Okay, the big thing, let's just kind of go back to this here, right? I'm just gonna make it slightly, yeah, like this. So you may notice when you think in other pressures, I mentioned there may be a lot of thoughts flooding in your mind. Okay, and see, with the negative, well, what a lot of times happens, because you're thinking something like, I hope I don't miss. Yeah, like, I hope I don't do this. I hope I don't fail. I hope I maybe just do not die or something. Yeah, this increases your anxiety level. This increases your tensity level. So that is something like here. Yeah, the flow state is going to be really, really hard to enter. This is almost positive. I mean, it's opposite from the flow state. It's going to be really hard. Maybe you're also thinking about, well, will my friends say, what my teammates will say. There also might be things such as you over focusing on too many things, just too many concepts to keep in mind, stuff like that. Okay, and because it's flooding your mind, suddenly your conscious, it's really busy with the processing all of that. Imagine you in your match and you're playing and you're thinking about, okay, I need to take the best position, I need to have the perfect decision, target priority, this and that. A lot of times, especially after a few sessions, some of my students, they get that, they get this kind of, let's just say, they get it in their practice. Okay, sometimes there's just too many things for them to keep in mind. It's going to be difficult for you and you will feel frustrated. Exactly, because your working memory is so overwhelmed with everything. it's gonna be really, really difficult. And see, because you're also focusing on what to not do, and you also maybe just trying to create this approach where let's just say we focusing too many times on external, something what the others will tell you, what the others will say, that is also increases your intensity level. Okay, now productive ways. Well, I can be thinking about something like what I'm doing at the moment, like focusing on myself, focusing on what under is my control, and focusing on what my feeling thoughts are currently. Maybe you're gonna be thinking about, okay, this target is so big. What is that about? The football player, the target is so big. When they try to hit, they're trying to hit the score, they're thinking, okay, it's so easy, the target's so big, I can do it. You can also do the same in the game. The aiming part, it's so easy. Okay, I will have the sharp aim like this green guy. Okay, let's make sure, if it helps you, if you're gonna have the thought, maybe if you're able to influence because you have the thought, it's gonna make you feel more comfortable and calm. You will be performing the better actions, instead of just maybe leaving the game or something else. It's just gonna be easier for you. Okay, I hope that makes sense. It's just some of the examples. You guys can also read those too. It's just from one of the football players. Again, those are just notes. It's not a full article, but yeah. Anyway, this is something what you can be thinking about. Again, I want to make it easy. Not too many thoughts. This is one idea. One most important, and also make it positive. It's another one. And the third point is its fundamental principle, which can make it easy. Just practice. Focus on one or two conscious thoughts. Okay, I think I already mentioned that, but if there are too many thoughts for you in mind, then it's going to be difficult. Like, see that player, if they say, I must remember to crush the ball this way, and they're also thinking about 45 degrees approach, maybe there's something else, it's just too much. Okay, it's going to be too difficult for you to focus on everything. All right, so yeah, you just create a routine. I would say if you're able to create a mental routine which allows you to enter the good state of mind, kind of the, let's just say, more constructive state of mind, then do it. For me, as a player, what I've been doing, I remember back in the days I was playing Overwatch, and I was playing Reinhardt quite a lot. I really liked one player, their name is Kaiser. If they're watching, I just want to say hi. But yeah, I really like that Kaiser and how they play Ryan. I think their style of play was so good, and I tried to implement a lot of the things they've been doing in their pro play. And when I was getting in my games, I would say, okay, I will try to be like that player, and that would allow me to focus on just 1-2 things precisely. I'm thinking about, okay, sharp Rhyme play, or in your case maybe sharp Spider-Man play or something. Okay, let's be like this guy and that guy. It's not about mimicking the playstyle, it's just about entering the correct state of mind, which allows you to trigger the other actions, the other small actions. Oh, yeah?
Let's go.
Oh, sorry, what was that? Oh, I think it was just background noise. All good. Yeah, do you guys have any questions about all of that so far? Is it clear enough, the productive, non-productive thoughts, just when we getting too many thoughts in mind, stuff like that?
I would just add one thing.
Yeah.
So, as it was said before, like there is a thing when you win a game and you lose a game. You win a little bit of confidence and a little bit of experience, and like let's say it in levels. You get confidence and like 10 XP of experience, and if you lose, you lose confidence, but you gain 0.25 of not 0.25, 25 of XP. So there is a thing where like you learn more, right? But you have to understand that you're learning more. Okay, so let's go again. You're learning more, right? You're learning more, and you have to like understand that okay, you have to put in your mind that okay, it's good that it's good because I'm gonna learn more even if you lose. You have to say okay, I'm gonna learn more, and you have to believe in that. So you're not gonna lose the confidence that like because that if you didn't lose confidence like this lose technically you're getting more, right? So if you're just not gonna lose the confidence and it's gonna stay in the same place or like go higher, okay, you're gonna get more excited. Like, okay, I'm gonna learn more. Okay, I'm like or something like that. So, and this is true. Like you're learning more when you lose. Like you just look at the game. You just look, okay, shit, I could have done this. Okay, that's what I could have done. Like this type of things, and you're learning like a lot more. If like you have to but you have to understand that it is what it happens, and then you're just not gonna lose the confidence, and you're just gonna so you're basically only gaining experience. In the long term, it's gonna be helpful.
This is really good. Yeah, I actually have the separate section for that as well. Kind of what I call it student mentality, and this is really helpful. It's just in terms of
Yeah,
continue.
I had it much better said before, but I've like kind of forgot it, so I had to like kind of quickly say it.
No, this is good. This is good. You don't have to say it perfectly. Again, we all here for the discussion.
No, I had it structured in that time, but I waited like 10 minutes.
No, it's okay.
You know?
It's all good. No worries. It's all good. We let it be like it is. It's all natural and good. Yeah, all those are really, really good things, and we always gain that XP. And I think the confidence, that actually multiple strategies, how to make sure it's on point, how to potentially increase it. Yeah, that is something what we can also talk about later as well. I actually have the separate masterclass ready later if you guys want to, but it's definitely influences. If you have the good confidence level, we can maybe also have the separate section. Yeah, confidence definitely is a big thing. If I'm thinking more confidently, then it's not triggering. Yeah, remember our model, the SWOT model. Thoughts, more confident. Is it gonna be more destructive or constructive? Definitely more constructive, right? It's just everybody, how do you enter this confidence? There might be multiple things you need to keep in mind. Okay, yeah, this is good. Let's just kind of go back to this model TCAP and talk about this a little bit. So I think mentioned pretty much productive, negative, thoughts. Yeah, if anything is not clear enough, let me know. But yeah, this has been the main things mentioned. Let me read the comments as well. Hey guys, I'm new here. Will this document be available after the class and this recording? Yeah, it's gonna be available. Those are just the notes though. So I highly suggest do not take those notes as separate read. Make sure you're watching the video and then you also go over the notes, because we are in a free discussion. I'm making the notes along the way. Later, there may be article as well, which I'm going to share as well based on all this material. But yeah, so far it's based on my experience, the experience of my students, experience of the players in esports, and sports as well. This is one of the part just from the book from TCAP model. Yeah, thinking correctly under pressure. So been using that as example. Now, I mentioned a lot about the anger. I think we talked about the anger, how to make sure it's more productive anger. But I want to say this. A lot of content creators, I mentioned it again, they neglect, they kind of mentioned that there are bad feelings. Sometimes you don't need to feel something. Sometimes you maybe don't want to cry or something, or you don't want to be angry because it's this non-productive. I think the way you want to go about this is make sure you are reaching the point where you're getting in more constructive mindset step by step. So you don't have to be thinking, all right, I'm feeling angry, this is really bad, and punish yourself for it. No. What you have to do, and when you're using this model, is just recognize that you're angry. So correct thinking example. Yeah, you took more risky position and didn't receive support. And for example, you get angry, but then you accept that feeling and you start thinking, what are you gonna do with it? Yeah, I'm angry because of this and that, but I will do my best way possible to perform something. Okay, so you channel your energy, angry energy. You're not kind of just let it emerge within yourself. You're kind of not forgetting about that feeling, yeah? Because all of that, let's say you feel angry once and then you neglect it, you don't recognize it, then you feel angry twice and you neglect it, you don't recognize. Guess what? Eventually the stress level is going to be really high, so it's going to be difficult for you to perform. You might feel burned out, you might feel frustrated. This is not good. So you need to recognize it and think about what are the possible ways we're going to be doing with this now and channel this energy. For example, there are some players in football, maybe rugby, yeah, just any other sports as well. They feel angry about something, they channel their focus to exactly what they are trying to do, focusing on not external factors but internal. I'm focusing on what is happening now. But a lot of the guys, they're making the mistakes where if something is not happening, then they're angry about their teammates. So they're angry, but then they channel their focus to, oh, this guy's so bad, like, why you done this play? It's so stupid. Yeah, something like that. This is normal, but this is not constructive the long term. This is going to be more destructive. Yeah, why you didn't support me there, why you why you didn't push with me. This is external, and that is something what we cannot control as well. We mentioned that before. It's something we're not controlling. We don't want to be focusing on that as much either. At least it's more helpful for us. Yeah, it's more constructive in the long term to think about what's helpful. Okay, and that's why make sure you form something more constructive for yourself. Let me read the comments. What if teammate dissed your just like your mom and it makes you feel so sad that you're crying mid-match? How would the teacup model apply? Well, again, let's use the model. What they say, and this is also something what we can use with that SOT model. They disliked something. They tell you the fact. What's your SOT response? Are you actually choosing helpful, something helpful in the moment? Yeah, you're thinking, oh, this guy's so trash. Yeah, like this is the thing right away. Yeah, you're thinking about this guy. Okay, this guy is like, he's doing something weird. Yeah, this is so bad. Okay, and then you get this maybe angry feeling, maybe you get frustrated or something. Yeah, I know it's more of a joke of an example, but anyway, it's more like a joke. But still, you can use this as example. Yeah, or maybe you can be thinking about, okay, well, what I'm practicing on now, yeah, like I'm thinking, oh well, okay, like you maybe also might feel angry about something. Yeah, maybe sometimes it just some of the teammates' words, someone's words may cause angry, but make sure you channel it in a more constructive way. That's what I want to say. And later, between the matches, you recognize what are the more helpful patterns you can do. Yeah, maybe more calm environment for yourself. Yeah, so you actually going to be getting more calm feelings, not as frustrated, stuff like that. Because I definitely think the anger in ways it's helpful. Just want to think about how to operate in this. And yeah, everybody can be angry. Yeah, there's no thing such as non-productive feelings. This is not a good mindset to have. Yeah, you don't want to depress something. Yeah, you want to think about how to form something out of this to more helpful to you. Let me see. Yes, how do you put aside the stress if you feel like you may disappoint your teammates with your performance? Yeah, exactly. So you see, you're focusing more on external, you're focusing more on the teammates, what they will think of you, instead of internal. Yeah, what if we shift our focus to, okay, how do I perform this and that? And also, see, you also entering this model where what they think of me, negative thoughts, yeah, but you're trying to perform those actions where you're trying to hit the shots. You're trying, like that player here, they've been trying to crush the ball, yeah, hit the ball, have the certain posture, maybe have some sort of approach with their position as well. That is something you guys are doing as well, but because those negative thoughts are entering your mind, then it becomes difficult. Yeah, it just becomes like a flooding. It's going to be difficult for you to perform. So recognize what's going to be more productive. You can think about, and it's just the habits. Yeah, forming the habits over and over. Everyday practice. In 1 week, you become less stressed and less tilted. Yeah, in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks. Yeah, what kind of helpful pattern you choose to do to make it happen? That is my question. Yeah, you may feel frustrated about your teammates, but what are you choosing to do at the end of the day? Okay, let me see. That's why I can never queue with characters I'm not 100% with and ranked. Yeah, well, this is the part of the journey too. Your performance, it also gives you confidence. Something we talked about here. The confidence is just boosting your performance potentially, and yeah, to be confident, you can also be prepared. Yeah, being prepared helps, for example. Okay. Yeah, let's just talk about the other stuff. I think, well, we can for the most part, just finish about the anger. Yeah, let's just finish about that. I think the teacup model already mentioned about constructive and not constructive feelings. So there might be healthy anger and versus unhealthy. Unhealthy, it's more about your expectations. So you're thinking, oh, this guy will perform this and that. They will try to maybe support me. Why they didn't support me? You've been expecting support, and this didn't happen. Maybe you've been expecting certain ultimate that didn't happen. It's all about expectations. Okay, so this is when this unhealthy anger happens, and then you enter this anxiety, this anxiety state. You see, what influencing your tilt is exactly the anger is one of the biggest things. There also might be things such as lack of control, maybe you are blaming others, more anxiety. Yeah, there's just weak game plan, even you're not as prepared. Yeah, it's all influencing the tilt, but being angry is one of the biggest. Okay, now I think one of the important things to mention about the anger, the unhealthy anger, is that a lot of times when we slip into negative mindset, what happens is this. There's a model. Maybe you've seen it somewhere else as well, but it just makes it easy to understand what state of mind you're in. There are 4 positions you can be thinking about the others and yourself. Okay, maybe if you read more about like psychology books or something, they always tell about those models. They use this model in a way. They're also like attachment styles or something, but yeah, I will not dive into that right now, and I'm not qualified enough to. So yeah, I'll talk about from coaching perspective. So this model here, if I'm talking about someone, about my performance, about enemy, or maybe about my teammates' performance, that 4 ways, 4 models to think about things. You can be thinking you are okay and they are okay. So okay, they're trying their best, maybe you're trying your best, so you're not gonna be shifting into negative mindset, most likely. There are also things such as you may be thinking you're okay, but your teammates are not okay. So this is where you most likely will shift towards this negative mindset. I'm okay, they're not okay. Usually, this is when you're will slip into this negative. Okay, I'm performing really well, but what those guys are doing, what is happening? Okay, this is where you want to be careful. If you enter in this model, see what's there you can fix. So you actually get into this state of mind where you feeling like those guys are okay. Yeah, you because otherwise the long-term game plan is not going to be helpful for you. Okay, there's also a state of mind where you're okay, they are not okay. It's just another thing. It's where your confidence level is really low, and you also not maybe achieving certain results you wanted to achieve. Yeah, it's just something we wanna solve. We can solve as well. Maybe you can think about the ways how to boost your skill, how to boost your confidence, and also thinking about how to shift your focus from external, so from them, towards your internal a little bit more. Yeah, so that's why we have that teacup model. That's pretty much it. Just something to keep in mind. You can use this model anywhere else as well. But yeah, it's just kind of the screenshot of that. I can elaborate on that later. For the most part, we mentioned everything, to be honest. We already talked about setting goals. I talked about the positive goals. We also talked about meditation. I think Drake, they mentioned sorry if if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly. So it's like Dracanian. They mentioned about the breathing exercises, meditation. All of that is a big help. So, for example, if you're tilted, frustrated, you can have that muscle tension. So what happens eventually is your aim becomes not as good. Maybe you aim, I just call it more tense aim. It's gonna be something where it's not as smooth. You kind of not as, you have a lot of sharp movements. It's not gonna be easy for you to hit the target. It's kind of when left, right, and it's all jittery. Yeah, this is the good word to call that. Okay, tensed aim. Maybe there might be something else as well. Your actions, your body can also tell you about your mental response, about your mental state at the moment. So if you notice there's a tensed aim, yet there is something you can do to your body to just how you are in the moment, like maybe it's your posture, maybe it's your something else you're doing currently, and try to calm down yourself, like bring yourself back to the moment and make sure you are more focused. Let's put it this way. Okay, so breathing exercises may be helpful. Okay, what I usually suggest is with breathing, it's try to take the lazy breaths. You have to do just 1, 2, or maybe 3 breathing exercises. It's gonna be inhale and then exhale slowly, as slow as possible, the laziest way you can. For example, there are also other ways, but right and match might be one of the fastest. Do that, your heart rate is gonna decrease, so you're gonna calm yourself a little bit more. Why not? Let me see. Anyone ever experienced unexpected tilt? Like if you're playing good, you're getting actions, you will mess up. Yeah, exactly. Angry at yourself too. Yeah, there is another thing. When we're beating ourselves up, it's not helpful response a lot of times too, I think. Yeah, and we mentioned about that in the model here. It was one of these things here. Okay. Well, student mentality, it's just you always get experience. We talked about that. Do not set expectations towards your teammates. One of the biggest things I would say too, like mentioned in the teacup model, expectations a lot of times can cause anger, unhealthy anger. When it's all about expectations on them, that's not going to be helpful. Your end results too, what are those? If you have as an end result winning or losing a game, most likely it's will cause you to be angry, and this is okay to be angry at this if you had this goal, but you could maybe have something else more productive, like paying attention to the journey. I think we mentioned that before too. Okay. Let me see. Do you guys have any questions? Maybe. I think for the most part, we mentioned everything. The most important notes, I also gonna have those in here. You guys can read through those later. But yeah, so far this is all the notes we had for today. Let me see. I've been recommended to turn off my team chat and voice for a week. Yeah, that might be helpful. If you notice that is influencing your performance, then you can do that. I think that's okay. Also, I have this other thing like gratitude. Gratitude can help with managing tilt. Yeah, you can appreciate certain things. You can just tell yourself, okay, like I like this and that. Yeah, it's easy to say. It's easier said than done, but anyway, something we're gonna keep in mind. It can also be applied to your real life. There are some facts you're facing. You can have more grateful something, find something what gives you that gratitude, so you get this more calm feeling. Yeah, we're not gonna feel angry at the end of the day, because if you're showering with attention, that anger, it grows. You shower with attention, your gratitude, that grows. You shower with attention, your calm mindset, it grows every week, every month, every year, stuff like that. No one is perfect, so don't beat yourself up too. Yeah, just step by step, like climbing the mountain. Okay, I think for the most part that's it then. If you guys don't have any questions, we'll finish. We'll finish the session. I hope that's been helpful. All the notes are gonna be saved for later as well. There are also some relative materials I've done before: how to manage your anxiety, how to self-review, master consistency. All those sessions are saved in the masterclasses too. You can find those later. Maybe listen to those like a podcast, because it's again more like mentality was more like a talk. Yeah, there's been nothing crazy like me showing the gameplay. It's just something you guys can apply.
Sound of ASMR. Today we're gonna listen to water coming down the stairs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can maybe listen to it this way, like a podcast, and
Leaves dropping down.
it's gonna be alright. Okay, I think if there are no questions, then we're gonna end here. You guys gonna have any questions later, let me know. There are definitely a lot of the things we can dive in later. Just unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time. I could be going over all this for hours. There's a lot of things to pay attention to. But yeah, also rewatch the previous masterclasses. We'll dive into setting goals probably later. I'll mark that. We probably will dive into something like how to boost your confidence as well. I also gonna mark that too. Let me actually just do it this way. Okay, we have the confidence and we also have the setting goals. Still, yeah, something we can do. Let me just readjust. Okay. Bro playing calming sounds. Yeah, exactly. How do I make the most of this whole academy process? I'm new to all of this. Well, I usually recommend attend the classes, maybe take 1-2 things to practice out of all those classes. I would not suggest to practice everything at once. So we have, as we mentioned in teacup model, if you practice too many things, it's gonna be really difficult. So one thing at a time, practice something within your gameplay, then see, are you performing better? Are you performing well? Just reflect on your progress, and then you can also add something in addition. I also recommend just post your gameplay to the What Reviews channel. So in here, we have this is called What Reviews Grandmaster, and there also the other What Reviews channel, I believe. Yeah, you can put your everything in there. It might be reviewed by the other coaches, and also the big brothers, they're reviewing this. Also me, I'm reviewing those from time to time too, and I'm thinking you can enter the scrims, that's okay too, mostly. I think it's great. Yeah, is there anything else? I think that's it. Yeah, there should be an option to mute the enemy team. Well, cannot you mute the player itself so they cannot send the messages? I think you can, right? You can just do that. And isn't there a command to just mute the chat? I believe in Overwatch there's been like command to hide the chat. So maybe tomorrow Rivals that would be the same as well. Maybe they can make it. I didn't find the same command at least, but yeah. I've been not reading the chat, to be honest. I'm just always paying attention to my gameplay. But yeah, if it's frustrating, I think you can just turn it off. Does one-on-one coaching also make a massive difference? Well, you can try to test it. The thing about the coaching is the coaching is giving you the tools to improve faster. It's not like you're not going to be able to improve by yourself. It's just coaching makes it more effective and gives you right direction. Because sometimes you might set in not the best direction, maybe just might be not the best tools you're trying to apply. That's about it. It's just like you're trying to get this good technician, someone who is trying to maybe fix your TV, right? You could be fixing TV by yourself, watch the guides and everything, but with coaching it's faster, right? So definitely depends on that. Watch who's experienced, try to book the session with them. Me, I personally coach too, so you can DM me if you want to do a session. You can DM other coaches. Just see who is more suitable to you. See what the experience is. See if the content is appealing. If the person is appealing to you, the way they practice for the players is appealing, because everybody is different. Like me personally, I
Smash.
prefer step-by-step approach. Oh, sorry, what was that?
Smash.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think that's it then. That's pretty much it. You gonna have any questions later? Let me know. Smash, well, maybe we can comment on that later.
You say it who's appealing to you.
Oh, Smash is appealing.
Yeah.
See. All right. Okay. Well, guys, I'm gonna end here. I just read the chat. I think there's no more questions, but you can always message me later. And with the next masterclass, maybe we'll do more mentality, or maybe we'll do more something related to the game as well, like kill boxes. I wanted to do the session on that, so I'll let you know. All right, have a good day, everyone. The rest of your day, and may consistency, may good mindset, non-tilted mindset, like more calm mindset, be with you. Good luck.
Have a good day, bro.
Yeah, have a good day, guys.
Bye-bye.